Being a superhero's son comes with impossible expectations. Your father saved the world, fought alongside legends, inspired millions. You're supposed to carry that torch, honor that legacy, become the hero he raised you to be. But some sons took a different path. They didn't just fail to live up to their father's legacies. They actively destroyed them. They became villains, killers, and threats to everything their fathers stood for. These are the sons who took their father's names and turned them into something dark, twisted, and unforgivable. 1. Dakin, Wolverine's feral son, 2007 to 2013. Wolverine, Origins number 10, March 2008. By Daniel Way and Steve Dillon, introduced Dakin Akihiro, Wolverine's biological son. His mother, Itsu, was murdered while pregnant by the Winter Soldier on Romulus's orders. Dakin was cut from her womb, raised by a Japanese couple, then trained as an assassin after watching his adoptive mother murdered. Dakin inherited his father's healing factor, bone claws, and feral rage. But where Logan fought for redemption, Dakin embraced cruelty. His claws secreted pheromones that manipulated people's emotions, making them feel desire, fear, or rage. He weaponized psychological torture alongside physical violence. Wolverine, Origins number 11 to 15, 2008, established Dakin's mission: destroy everything Logan loved. He didn't want reconciliation with his father. He wanted revenge for perceived abandonment. Romulus had spent years twisting Dakin's mind, convincing him that Logan abandoned his pregnant mother, that Wolverine chose the X-Men over his own son. Dakin infiltrated the X-Men, pretending to seek redemption. Dark Wolverine, number 75 to 76, 2009, showed him using his pheromones to seduce and manipulate team members. He studied their weaknesses, learned their secrets, waited for the perfect moment to betray them. During Dark Reign, Norman Osborn recruited Dakin for his Dark Avengers, giving him his father's Wolverine costume and codename. Dakin wore the costume, mockingly turning everything it represented into a weapon for Osborn's regime. He killed without hesitation, tortured for information, used his status as Wolverine to access classified information and eliminate Osborn's enemies. Dark Wolverine number 77 to 84, 2009 to 2010. By Daniel Way and Marjorie Liu showed Dakin's true nature. He played both sides against each other, manipulated Osborn while secretly working his own agenda, seduced heroes and villains alike using pheromones, extracting information before discarding them. He had no loyalty to anyone, no code, no lines he wouldn't cross. The confrontation between father and son came in Wolverine number 300, 2012, by Jason Aaron and Adam Kubert. Dakin had become increasingly unstable, his hatred for Logan consuming him. They fought across New York, tearing through buildings and civilians. Dakin targeted Logan's students, his friends, and everyone he cared about. Logan was forced to kill his own son. He drowned Dakin in a puddle, holding him underwater, while Dakin's healing factor struggled to compensate. The scene was brutal and heartbreaking. Logan had lost dozens of teammates, friends, and lovers, but killing his own son broke something inside him. Dakin eventually returned through resurrection storylines, but the damage to Wolverine's legacy was permanent. Every hero who'd trusted Dakin, everyone he'd manipulated and hurt while wearing the Wolverine costume, became another stain on Logan's name. Dakin proved that Wolverine's berserker rage and killer instinct could produce something far worse than a hero with a dark past. It could produce a monster with no conscience at all. 2. Scar, the Hulk's savage son, 2008 to 2012. World War Hulk number 5, January 2008, ended with a revelation. During Hulk's exile on Sakaar, his wife Kyra, the Old Strong, became pregnant. She died when the ship exploded, destroying the planet, but their son survived, aging rapidly in the hostile environment. Scar, son of Hulk number 1, June 2008, by Greg Pak. And Ron Garney introduced Scar as a savage warrior born into a planetary apocalypse. He emerged from Sakaar's ruins with his father's incredible strength and his mother's old power, planet-shaping abilities. Within days, he was an adult. Within weeks, he was the most dangerous being on the shattered world. Scar inherited Banner's rage without his intelligence or restraint. He conquered through brutal violence, crushing anyone who opposed him. His introduction showed him ripping through armies, destroying cities, and reveling in carnage. Where Hulk fought to protect, Scar fought for dominance. Scar, son of Hulk, number 1 to 12, 2008 to 2009, followed his rampage across the broken planet. He killed warlords, enslaved populations, used his old power to reshape continents. The natives feared him more than they'd feared Hulk or the Red King. At least those threats could be reasoned with. Scar was pure, savage fury. When Scar arrived on Earth in Incredible Hulk, number 601, 2009, he had one goal: kill. The Hulk. He blamed Banner for abandoning him, for Kyera's death, for everything wrong with his existence. His first act was smashing through a city looking for his father, causing millions in damage and dozens of casualties. Banner tried training Scar to control his rage in Incredible Hulk, number 602 to 605, 2009. The experiment failed catastrophically. Scar couldn't distinguish between protecting people and dominating them. During a training exercise against Juggernaut, Scar nearly killed civilians in his fury to win. Banner realized his son was fundamentally broken. The conflict escalated in Incredible Hulks, number 612 to 617, 2010 to 2011. Scar joined Bruce's family, Red She-Hulk, A-Bomb, Korg, to fight the intelligentsia, but Scar's methods horrified everyone. He executed enemies rather than capturing them, destroyed buildings with people inside, showed no concern for collateral damage. When Bruce tried to stop him, Scar attacked his own father. The battle devastated a city. Scar used his old power to earthquake entire neighborhoods. Banner transformed into Hulk, and father and son tore into each other with primal fury. Buildings collapsed. Civilians died. Everything Hulk had spent years building, proving he could be a hero, not a monster. Scar destroyed in one rampage. Incredible Hulks, number 635, 2011, revealed Scar's ultimate betrayal. He'd been working with the intelligentsia, planning to kill his father and take his power. The son Banner tried to save was actively trying to murder him and conquer Earth. Scar eventually underwent character development and joined the Avengers, but his early years permanently damaged Hulk's legacy. Every city he destroyed, every person he killed, reflected on Banner. The public saw Scar as proof that Hulk's rage was genetic, inheritable, and uncontrollable. It reinforced the worst fears about gamma-powered beings. 3. Harry Osborn, The Goblin Legacy, 1965 to present. Harry Osborn first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 31, December 1965, by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko as Peter Parker's best friend and roommate. His father, Norman Osborn, was secretly the Green Goblin, Spider-Man's deadliest enemy. For years, Harry didn't know. The Amazing Spider-Man number 136, September 1974, by Jerry Conway and Ross Andrew, showed Harry discovering his father's Green Goblin equipment after Norman's death. Instead of destroying it, Harry became the second Green Goblin. His father's madness became his inheritance. Harry's descent was gradual and tragic. Drug addiction weakened his mind in The Amazing Spider-Man number 96 to 98, 1971, a groundbreaking story addressing substance abuse. Norman's death sent him spiraling. He blamed Spider-Man for his father's demise, never acknowledging that Norman was a murderous supervillain who brought about his own destruction. As the second Green Goblin, Harry attacked Peter repeatedly. The Amazing Spider-Man, number 136 to 137, 1974 to 1975, showed him kidnapping Mary Jane and Aunt May, threatening to kill them if Spider-Man didn't admit to murdering Norman. Peter tried reasoning with his best friend, but Harry was too far gone. The drugs, the grief, his father's weaponry and madness, they'd transformed him into a monster. Harry would recover, relapse, and return to the Goblin identity multiple times over the decades. Each time, he destroyed more of Peter's life. He used their friendship as a weapon, exploiting every secret Peter had ever shared. He targeted Mary Jane, Aunt May, and anyone Peter cared about. The Spectacular Spider-Man number 189, June 1992. by J.M. DeMatteis and Sal Buscema showed Harry's most vicious attack. He kidnapped Peter's wife, Mary Jane, while she was pregnant, planning to kill both her and the unborn child. Harry saw it as justice. Peter had killed Norman, so Harry would kill Peter's family. Only his last-minute realization of how far he'd fallen stopped him. Harry died saving Peter and Mary Jane in the spectacular Spider-Man number 200, May 1993, apparently sacrificing himself to destroy his goblin formula so no one else could become what he and his father had been. It was a heroic death that seemed to redeem him. But death in comics is temporary. Harry returned in The Amazing Spider-Man, number 545, 2007, after one more day. The controversial storyline involved Mephisto altering reality, and Harry was alive again with no clear explanation. Harry's return meant the cycle of goblin insanity continued. He resumed the Green Goblin identity in American Son, The Amazing Spider-Man number 595 to 599, 2009, working with Norman during Dark Reign. He wore an Iron Patriot-style goblin armor, combining his father's legacy with stolen Stark technology. The Amazing Spider-Man numbers 798 to 800, 2018, by Dan Slott, showed Harry's ultimate corruption. He orchestrated an elaborate plan to destroy Peter using Kindred, a supernatural entity connected to the Goblin legacy. Harry used his son, Normie, and grandson, Stanley, as pawns, continuing the cycle of Osborn children being corrupted by their father's madness. The tragedy of Harry Osborn is that he had every opportunity to break the cycle. Peter offered him friendship, redemption, and family, but Norman's legacy was too strong. Harry couldn't escape it. He became proof that the Green Goblin's madness was a hereditary curse that destroyed every Osborn it touched. 4. Graydon Creed, Sabretooth's anti-mutant son, 1993 to 2001. Uncanny X-Men, number 299, April 1993, by Scott Lobdell and Brandon Peterson, introduced Graydon Creed as the leader of the Friends of Humanity, an anti-mutant hate group. What made him notable was his parentage. His father was Sabretooth, one of the most savage mutant killers alive. His mother was Mystique, a terrorist shapeshifter. Two mutant parents produced a baseline human son. No powers, no abilities, just a normal human born to monsters. Graydon's childhood was revealed in Sabretooth 1-4, 1993, by Larry Hama and Mark Texeira. His parents abandoned him, disgusted by his lack of mutation. Mystique left him at an orphanage. Sabretooth considered killing him, but decided his weakness wasn't worth the effort. Graydon grew up knowing his parents were powerful mutants who saw him as genetic garbage. That rejection twisted him. X-Men number 33, 1994, showed Graydon becoming the public face of mutant hatred. He gave speeches calling for mutant registration, deportation, and extermination. The Friends of Humanity attacked mutants, burned their homes, and murdered anyone with an X gene, all while their leader secretly descended from two of the most dangerous mutants alive. The hypocrisy was the point. Graydon's anti-mutant crusade wasn't about ideology. It was revenge against his parents and every mutant like them. He couldn't have powers, so he'd destroy everyone who did. X Factor number 106 to 109, 1994, showed him orchestrating mass violence against mutant communities, using his platform as a concerned human to legitimize genocide. Graydon ran for president in X Factor number 130, 1997, on an explicitly anti-mutant platform. His campaign rallies featured violence against mutants, with Friends of Humanity members beating suspected mutants, while Graydon gave speeches about protecting humanity. He weaponized his baseline human status, positioning himself as the voice of powerless humans threatened by mutant supremacy. Mystique assassinated him in X Factor number 130, shooting him on national television during his campaign. She'd been hunting him for years, trying to undo the damage her son had caused, but killing Graydon made him a martyr. Anti-mutant groups used his death as proof of mutant violence against humans who spoke truth. His legacy outlived him. Graydon returned temporarily in Uncanny X-Men number 481 to 486, 2007, resurrected as part of a complex time travel plot. His second life was as hateful as his first, immediately resuming his crusade against mutants. The cruel irony is that Sabretooth, for all his savagery and murder, targeted individuals. His violence was personal, brutal, but limited in scope. Graydon orchestrated systematic oppression and genocide. He inspired millions to fear and hate mutants. He legitimized violence on a scale his father never achieved. The son of two mutant terrorists became more dangerous than either parent because he made hatred respectable. 5. Tyler Dayspring / Genesis, Cable's genocidal son, 1994 to 1996. Tyler Dayspring appeared in Cable number 6, December 1993, by Fabian Nicieza and Art Thibert as Nathan Summers, Cable's infant son from a future timeline. But his true introduction came in Cable number 19, January 1995, when he was revealed as Genesis, the grotesque villain leading the Dark Riders. The timeline is complicated. Nathan Summers was sent to the future as an infant to save his life from the techno-organic virus. Raised by Cyclops and John Gray's consciousnesses in the body of Mother Ascani, Nathan became Cable. He married Aaliyah and had a son, Tyler. Strife, Cable's clone, kidnapped young Tyler and brainwashed him, turning the boy against his father. Cable number 25, November 1995, by Jeff Loeb, revealed Genesis's plan: resurrect Apocalypse and continue his mission of mutant supremacy through genocide. Tyler had been twisted into believing his father abandoned him, that Cable chose fighting in the present over protecting his family in the future. Genesis led the Dark Riders in a campaign of terror against mutants deemed weak or unworthy. Cable number 20 to 23, 1995, showed them executing mutants who didn't meet their standards for genetic superiority. They killed children, families, anyone Genesis deemed evolutionarily inferior. This was Cable's son, raised with Summers' values, now running death squads. The confrontation between father and son was inevitable. Genesis captured Wolverine in Wolverine number 100, April 1996, by Larry Hama and Adam Kubert, planning to rebond adamantium to Logan's skeleton and mind control him into killing Cable. The process was agonizing, with Wolverine tortured for days while Genesis boasted about destroying his father's legacy. The plan failed catastrophically. Wolverine's body rejected the adamantium, and he regressed into a feral state, his mind breaking from the trauma. He attacked Genesis, and the two fell into a vat of liquid adamantium. Genesis died, screaming as the metal consumed him. Tyler's death was ignoble and pointless. He'd become a genocidal madman trying to resurrect Apocalypse, tortured heroes, led death squads, and died drowning in the metal he tried to weaponize. Cable never got closure with his son, never got to break the brainwashing or restore the child he'd lost. Tyler died hating his father, convinced Cable had betrayed him. The tragedy damaged Cable's heroic image. Here was a man who traveled through time to prevent dark futures, who fought for peace and coexistence, whose own son became a monster advocating genocide. It raised questions about Cable's judgment, his methods, his priorities. If he couldn't save his own son from corruption, how could he save the timeline? 6. Blackheart, Mephisto's demonic son, 1989 to present. Daredevil, number 270, September 1989, by Ann Nocenti and John Romita Jr. Introduced Blackheart, the son of Mephisto, Marvel's equivalent to the devil. Born from the accumulated evil of Christ's crown, a town in upstate New York where centuries of murder and sin had saturated the ground, Blackheart emerged as pure concentrated malevolence. Unlike his father, who operated through contracts and deals, Blackheart preferred direct corruption and violence. His first act was attempting to claim Christ's crown for himself by murdering every remaining resident. He killed indiscriminately, slaughtering families, children, and anyone still living in the cursed town. Daredevil and Brandy Ash barely stopped him. Daredevil number 281 to 283, 1990, showed Blackheart's obsession with surpassing Mephisto. He didn't want to serve his father or inherit hell. He wanted to prove himself more evil, more powerful, more worthy of ruling the infernal realm. He targeted heroes specifically because corrupting them would prove his superiority over Mephisto's methods. Blackheart's campaign against Ghost Rider became personal. Ghost Rider number 12 to 13, 1991, by Howard Mackey and Mark Texeira, showed him trying to steal the spirit of vengeance from Johnny Blaze. He tortured Blaze psychologically, showing him visions of everyone he'd failed to save, every innocent who died, because Ghost Rider wasn't fast enough. The demon orchestrated elaborate schemes to corrupt heroes. Wolverine/Punisher, Revelation number 1 to 4, 1999, by Pat Mills, showed Blackheart manipulating Wolverine and Punisher into nearly killing each other. He posed as a priest, offered both heroes information about their pasts, then orchestrated situations where they'd turn their rage on each other instead of him. Venom number 12 to 13, 2004, revealed Blackheart's most ambitious plan: claim the Venom symbiote and use it to corrupt Spider-Man. He possessed the symbiote, transforming it into something even more monstrous. The combination of demonic power and alien symbiote created a nearly unstoppable threat. Spider-Man barely survived. Blackheart's greatest crime was the 6 storyline in X-Force number 1 to 6, 2008, by Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost. He gathered 6 blood-stained weapons used in horrific murders throughout history and combined them with 6 demons to create perfect killing machines. The plan was to use these weapons to murder specific targets, breaking seals that would allow him to invade Earth permanently. X-Force fought the demon weapons in brutal battles. Wolverine was impaled. Warpath nearly died. Wolfsbane was corrupted. The team barely destroyed the weapons before Blackheart could complete his ritual. The casualties were severe, with several team members permanently scarred by the demonic influence. What made Blackheart particularly dangerous was his willingness to target families and children. Mephisto, for all his evil, operated within certain rules. He made deals, honored contracts, and played the long game. Blackheart had no such restraint. He murdered children to prove a point, tortured innocents for entertainment, violated every code his father pretended to follow. Blackheart repeatedly tried to overthrow Mephisto, leading to civil wars in hell that spilled onto Earth. Heroes became collateral damage in a father-son power struggle, with Blackheart willing to sacrifice entire cities to prove himself worthy of the throne. Unlike the other sons on this list, Blackheart never had a heroic father to disappoint, but he took Mephisto's evil and made it worse. He removed the careful manipulation and strategic thinking, replacing it with pure, sadistic violence. Where Mephisto was patient corruption, Blackheart was immediate brutalization. The son proved that even demons can raise something worse than themselves. These sons weaponized their father's legacies, turning heroic names into symbols of violence and betrayal. Some found redemption, others died unredeemed, but the damage to their father's reputations became permanent scars on Marvel history. If this breakdown of Marvel's most destructive sons got you thinking, hit that like button and subscribe for more comic book deep dives.